Well, a guy like Brock Lesnar, man, I swear that if Brock Lesnar got into mixed martial arts right out of college, well, went college wrestler, right into training, really learned striking, and learned slowly, like took some small fights.
Like John Jones did.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, but really learned striking instead of like spending all that time doing WWE, which I'm sure he made a fuckload of money.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, good
Way
for
more.
him. That's all great and everything like that. But man, I think he could have been one of the all-time greats. I really do. I really.
He was
he's
so
a freak.
strong.
He's a freak.
Nobody I remember cutting that much to heavyweight.
Dude, he's giant.
Yeah,
But that
those
was
heavyweights
also-
would weigh in with their jeans on because they're like, whatever I am.
It was also there was no testing back then.
Oh yeah.
You got to realize that the testing back then was horseshit. And the best way to show that the testing was horseshit was to show when Alistair Overeem fought Brock. That was the steroid Olympics. Those two guys together inside the octagon. But that was also Brock less than a year from diverticulitis surgery, where they had to remove, I think, 12 inches of his fucking colon or his well, it's not even a meat eater. I thought it was at the time. Then I talked to, of all people, Anthony Bourdain told me, no, people get diverticulitis sometimes from seeds. Like a seed will get stuck in your intestines. So they had to well, just things get caught and stuck. But they had to remove 12 inches of his intestines. So they had to open him up.
He was done after that.
Well, he was, and then he came back.
But he was done as the Brock Lesnar that everybody feared.
Well, he says that he was compromised even before that. He said he was compromised before the Kane fight and before a lot of his other fights, even the fight with Shane Carwin, from diverticulitis. Like he was suffering from it for a long time, and he just thought that was just exhausted from training, but really he was having this blockage and all this issue. Look at this.
Jesus. Yeah, it was fun talking to...
That's 256 is incorrect, by the way. That's not true.
265?
When he weighed, he was 265. If you look
Who
at...
was Overeem?
Overeem was. Overeem was 265 as well.
Wow.
And if you look at Overeem on the scale for that fight, that's a great picture of the two of them facing down. Like, Jesus Christ, they're both so jacked.
So big. But it's not like they're 6'10".
When Overeem...
Brock is my height.
Yeah. When Overeem was standing there flexing on the scale, you're like, what in the fuck is he on? Like right there. What the fuck, dude?
Wow. He's not even like really flexing hard. He's still smiling.
He's so jacked.
Oh my God.
Dude, he was so jacked. That he was so fucking
What was Anderson's
jacked.
friend's trainer's name or manager's name? The bald white guy?
Ed Soares?
Ed Soares, yeah. And we were asking him like about the Pride days, and he was like, "Oh, they tested for steroids in Pride," and you were like, "What? They tested for steroids?" He goes, "Yeah, I mean, they didn't do anything about it, but they tested." But they're like, "Yeah, you're both positive. Go fight. Who cares?"
Yeah. Well, according to Ensign Inoue, not only did they not test in Pride, they put it in the contract. We do not test for steroids.
Oh, I thought he said they tested and then just like we don't give a shit. We just want to know.
I think they took tests, but they didn't really test you.
God damn, those guys are big.
Yeah,
look at the ring card girl. She was so young. Which one was that?
Gorilla. He was a gorilla, son.
Jesus.
Yeah.
His blonde hair. He should have been a Nazi in the war. He's missed his calling. He would have been one of the most feared Nazis there were. Honestly, if he was a fucking Nazi, I would have rooted for the other team.
He was a Viking. Yeah. Fuck Nazis, dude. He would have been on one of them boats with a dragon on the front of it.
By the way, I mean, underrated John Jones for a weed head. I mean, everybody gives all the credit to fucking Nate and Nick. It's fair. Yeah. They've earned it.
Yeah.
But when you would give a fucking... Those breast strips, half a strip was the dose.
That's right.
And on the plane, he was like, "Hey, you got it?" One of my finest compliments was John Jones. I heard somebody else goes, "Hey, John Jones always goes, oh, Shafir, he's always got great weed." And I'm like, "Oh, yes. Hell fucking yes, I'll take that."
I gave him a package of breath strips, and he ate the whole package.
2 to a pack! Half of one is the... And you're like, dude, no.
Half is the dose. He took 2.
And you're like, don't do that. And he's like, "Joe Rogan, I'll be fine."
He was fine. I was so scared for him. I was paranoid because I gave Tommy Buns a half.
Yeah.
And we flew to Florida. And he told me, he goes, "Dude," he goes, "I swear to God," when we landed, he goes, "I didn't think I was going to make it."
I've had one of those with you before.
I really thought I couldn't make it. I really thought there's no way I'm going to be able to survive this flight. I'm going to freak out. I'm going to have them land somewhere.
I almost told the stewardess before we took off. I was close to be like, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. Before we were on the runway. The only thing that stopped me from doing it is knowing the abuse I would have taken from you verbally for the next 2 years. That I'm like, I'd rather die.
I love those days. It was so fun.
I was actually, I felt bad for you a couple times in my life.
Why?
One time, me and Nick Youssef were doing a corporate in Vegas, and we went to the new Aria, and we took edibles, and we walked around, and I was like, oh, Rogan's too famous in Vegas. He can't do this. He can't get this fucked up and walk around casually. But watching the fights on edibles, I'm like, it's too bad you don't get to experience this.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't. I have to do commentary 100% sober. I tried early in the days.
Yeah.
Early in the day, I did like 1 or 2 events where I was a little fucked up, and I was like, this is just too cloudy. I want to think, because I would want to talk about other shit.
Right.
The fight would be going on. I want to talk about space.
Like that dude who had a stingray tattoo on his back.
Stingray.
He just fought in his last fights. He was on there. I think a guy who the fucking big black dude beat in the last 13 seconds.
Oh, Volkov?
Yeah, I think he has a stingray.
I thought it was like oh yeah, it is kind of a stingray.
I could see you going like, what a great fight. Dude, stingrays are some of the most underrated sea creatures there are. First of all, they're peaceful as shit.
They haven't evolved in millions and millions of years. What a strange thing to have tattooed on your back. I wonder if he's like an ocean guy. He's really into ocean creatures.